I'm liking share.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Delaware Public Service Commission meeting of December 17th. And I doubt I'll be seeing too many of you on New Year's Eve. So it's been a really good year. Thank you to staff for all the great work you do. Christmas party especially was very good. And best wishes to all of you people out there that we regulate, hopefully in a good manner. And we wish you good health and best wishes for the new year. And we will then start with the reading of the meeting minutes of December 3rd. Does anyone have any corrections, changes?
We adopt the minutes of December 3rd as presented.
I second it.
Is there any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Ayes, the motion carried. Consent agenda. Oh, yes, I guess. Is there anybody here from the public that'd like to make public comment? I didn't see any.
Yeah. This is Jameson Tweedy. I would like to make public comment, but I'm happy to wait if there are others in person who would like to make public comment.
You're number one, Mr. Tweedy.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, Chair Winslow and Commissioners. As you know, I'm Jameson Tweedy, Delaware Public Advocate. I'm sorry not to be able to be with you in person, although you're probably not sorry I'm not there. I'm fighting a bug and didn't want to share my germs with you. And I'll do my best to not get into a coughing fit, but apologies in advance if I do. I wanted to comment on Delmarva Power's electric base rate case, which was filed last week. First, I wanted to take you back to last month to the November 5th commission meeting where Delmarva presented its state of the company to the commission. In that presentation, all three senior executives who presented, Tyler Anthony, Jacqueline Cantler, and Marcus Beal, expressed strongly that customer affordability was a key consideration for Delmarva. They described how the customer, including, quote, customer value and affordability, end quote, is one of Delmarva's North Stars. They detailed Delmarva's affordability strategy framework, which specifically included managing distribution costs through operational efficiencies, and they described various initiatives to address rising energy costs. And it's great that Delmarva leadership all stressed the importance of customer affordability. But as I said that day in my brief response following this state of the company, the ultimate measure of customer affordability is not talking points, but rather the bills customers actually receive every month. And those bills are going up. In Delmarva's most recent standard offer service auction, the underlying cost of electricity is going up by double digits. Regional prices, including the capacity market, are skyrocketing, resulting in billions in additional costs being paid by customers across the region. And other utility costs are going up, including on Delmarva's natural gas side, where both base rates and the pass-through cost of natural gas are going up by double digits just this year. And yet, despite all that concern about affordability, just last week, Delmarva files a new electric base rate case, seeking a $67.8 million increase in their revenue. That means $67.8 million more flowing from Delmarva customers to Delmarva each year as compared to the rates approved in their last base rates case. And these increases are additional to all the other increases I mentioned: electricity costs, capacity costs, etc. Delmarva is seeking an 18% increase in the monthly customer charge. That means more customers pay every month, regardless of how much electricity they use. And Delmarva is seeking a 10.5% return on equity, almost a full percentage point higher than what they currently receive. All of that means more money being paid by Delaware ratepayers and flowing to Delmarva, and ultimately to Delmarva's corporate parent Exelon, whose gross profit is measured in the billions. To add insult to injury, this is the third electric base rates case from Delmarva in just the last 5 years. My office will rigorously evaluate this rate case and will vigorously argue for the lowest reasonable rates for consumers, and I hope that the Commission will take a similar rigorous approach to Delmarva's requested rate increase. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tweedy. Mr. Jordan here. You want to make any comments since we have a on-the-record comment from one of your opponents?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Brian Jordan on behalf of Delmarva Power and Light Company. And I know that usually the public comment session is reserved for other matters, but the one thing I did want to point out that filed simultaneously with that rate case was an affordability filing that the company made. That includes proposed savings for our ratepayers. We filed that separately from the rate case at the urging of staff and the public advocate. And the goal is to get that through quicker and get those savings in place quicker than what a rate case would take. So to the extent that the public advocate has asked the commission to apply its vigorous efforts to the rate case, we would ask for the same respect when it comes to our affordability filing and everything that's contained in there. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is
Chair
there any
Winslow, could I briefly respond?
Yes, please do so.
I would just note that affordability case, which I do appreciate that Delmarva filed separately from the base rates case, likewise seeks tens of millions of dollars from ratepayers to be able to invest in those affordability and energy efficiency items. So we look forward to evaluating that. We are very hopeful that those translate to benefits to consumers. But that case in and of itself, and why it's before the Commission for approval, is because it seeks tens of millions of dollars in ratepayer money to be used to fund those programs. Thank you.
Thank you again. Obviously, 2026, one of the laser focuses of the commission staff and commission will be affordability. Going to the consent agenda, any changes or corrections to consent agenda? Commissioner Drexler,
I move that we adopt the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
is there any discussion on approving the consent agenda? Commission? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any-
Aye.
Aye. It's all five. Motion carries. The item one on the regular agenda is in the matter of the adoption of regulations for net energy metering to implement the provisions of 26 Delaware Admin Code 1014 as amended. We've got final order proposed and final order number 10908, and we have Ms. Workman to explain this to us.
Thank you, Kate Workman, on behalf of staff. Staff today is requesting that the commission enter order number 10908 to give staff the authority to publish the proposed amendments to Regulation 3012 in the February Register of Regulations. This update accounts for legislative changes in addition to allowing Delaware residents to use meter collar adapters to make renewable energy more accessible to them. The only comment received in this docket was from some industry representatives who indicated their support, especially for the meter collar adapter change. And with that, we've checked all of our necessary regulatory boxes. We've published it as proposed. We've had the necessary hearing, and today we are ready to publish as final. So I would ask that the commission approve order number 10908 to approve the publishing. Thank you.
Commissioners, do you have any questions?
So I move that,
Yeah.
I move that we adopt the order number 10908.
Second the motion?
Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All five are ayes, the motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Workman. Hearing schedule, number one, in the matter of request for approval of Delmarva Power and Light Company's standard offer service rates. And we have proposed order number 10916, and Ms. Shen is here.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Chairman Winslow and Commissioners. Zishang Shen on behalf of Delmarva Power and Light Company. And with me today is Robert Cohen, Senior Rate Analyst for Pepco Holdings. Delmarva Power thanks the Commission for the opportunity to present our annual application to establish the electric standard offer service rates for the period of June 1st, 2025 through May 31st, 2026. This includes establishing tariff rates for SOS supply rates, which includes the procurement cost adjustment, or PCA, and the reasonable allowance for retail margin components, also known as RARM. On March 27th, 2025, Delmarva Power filed its annual application, the purpose of which is to update the electric tariff rates for these charges for the period of June 1st, 2025 through May 31st, 2026. The company thanks the other parties for their efforts in this docket and thanks staff for preparing the proposed order and staff memo and for allowing the company the opportunity to comment. And before we turn to witness testimony, I would like to request permission to present copies of the exhibit log to the commission containing the parties' pre-filed exhibits. I have copies if any of the commissioners would like any.
Not right now, thank you.
Okay,
You want them admitted into evidence?
thank you.
You want them admitted into evidence?
Yeah, I was gonna request that. they-
Okay. You're admitted without objection.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And at this time, I would like to call Robert Cohen as the witness on behalf of Delmarva Power and ask that he be sworn in.
I do.
Can you please state your name for the record?
Robert J. Cohen,
By whom are you employed?
PHI Service Company, primarily on behalf of Delmarva Power. My business address is 500 North Wakefield Drive, Newark, Delaware, 19702.
In what capacity are you employed?
Senior Rate Analyst.
How long have you been in this position?
Over 12 years in this specific position, but I've been with the family of companies for over 40 years doing mostly utility accounting.
And Mr. Cohen, what is your educational background?
I have a Bachelor of Science in Accounting from the University of Delaware.
Were you involved in the preparation of the filing in this docket?
Yes, I am primarily responsible for this filing.
Can you briefly explain the purpose of the filing?
The purpose of this filing is to establish the electric standard offer service rates for the period of June 1st, 2025 to May 31st, 2026. This includes establishing tariff rates for standard offer service supply, which includes the procurement cost adjustment and the reasonable allowance for retail margin components. The revised rates include estimates for the projected period, plus prior period true-ups for any over or under recovered balances.
What did the filing consist of?
The filing was composed of revised tariff sheets, PCA calculations, SOS supply rate calculation, bill impacts, RARM rate calculation, and supporting work papers.
And was the methodology used this year consistent with prior years?
Yes.
In connection with this filing, did you schedule a meeting with commission staff and the DPA to review all of the documents associated with the filing?
Yes, we held a technical conference via video conference and later answered informal discovery questions.
Did commission staff or the DPA propose any adjustments based on the documentation included in the filing?
No adjustments have been requested.
Was notice of this application published as required by Commission Order number 10687?
Yes, the notice was posted on the homepage of Delmarva's website on April 24th, 2025, and scheduled to remain active until July 25th, 2025.
Was an affidavit of publication filed in the docket?
Yes, on April 29th, 2025.
Are these rates currently in effect?
Yes, these charge rates were put into effect on a temporary basis effective June 1st, 2025, as authorized by Order Number 10687.
Has commission staff determined that the commission should approve as final the rates that went into effect on a temporary basis on June 1st, 2025?
Yes, as set forth in their memo dated December 10, 2025, staff recommends that the commission approve the temporary rates as final.
Mr. Cohen, what is the bill impact to customers as a result of this filing?
A typical residential customer using 811 kilowatt hours per month on average has seen an increase of approximately $11.26 per month, which is a 7.72% increase when including the delivery and supply portions of the bill. To be clear, should the commission elect to enter proposed order number 10916, the rates currently in effect will not change and will not increase any further.
Does this conclude your testimony?
Yes.
Thank you. Delmarva Power offers Mr. Cohen for cross-examination.
Are there any questions of Mr. Cohen?
No questions from staff.
No questions from DPA.
Thank you. Stephen Ferguson for staff. Staff calls its first and only witness, Nate Felsman. Would you please swear in the witness?
I do.
State your name.
My name is Nate Felsman. My business address is 861 Silver Lake Boulevard, Suite 100, Dover, Delaware, 19904.
Who's your current employer and what is your position or title?
I'm employed by the Delaware Public Service Commission as a public utility analyst.
What is your educational and professional background?
I have a bachelor's degree in energy, business, and finance from Penn State, and I've been an analyst with the commission for 1 year.
What was your role in docket number 25-0318?
I was the case manager for this docket filing. I reviewed the applications submitted by Delmarva as well as the supporting work papers and documents. In addition, I attended meetings with Delmarva to go over the filing in detail with the opportunity to ask questions related to the filing.
Can you please describe the purpose and intent of Delmarva's filing?
On March 27th, 2025, Delmarva filed an application for approval of the 2025 Standard Offer Service or SOS rates, including the Procurement Cost Adjustment or PCA and the Reasonable Allowance for Retail Margin or RARM. Delmarva files an application annually to make adjustments to the SOS rates based on the wholesale supplier contract prices and for other expenses or revenues related to procurement and transmission to their customers receiving standard offer service.
What was the nature of your review in this case?
I reviewed the application and all supporting documents and work papers. This included reviewing the rate calculation for the PCA component of the rate for the period of January 2024 through December 2024. This included an audit of 2 selected months, reviewing all invoice and revenue for those months. I also reviewed the SOS fixed price calculations and components of the winning tranche bids, as well as the forecasted megawatt hours to verify the full requirement cost. Additionally, the RARM calculations were reviewed.
Based on your review, what is your conclusion as to the company's application?
I found no errors in the calculation of the PCA, RARM, or SOS components of the rate. The fixed price component of the rate is consistent with the winning bid prices that were reported to the Commission by Liberty Consulting Group in February 2025. Based on the application and supporting work papers, the monthly bill for a residential customer using 811 kilowatt hours on an annual average basis will increase by $11.26 or 7.72%. The Commission approved the proposed rates on a temporary basis subject to refund in order number 10687 on April 23rd, 2025.
What is your recommendation to the
Based on staff's review of the application and work papers, staff recommends that the Commission approve as final the rates that went into effect on a temporary basis on June 1st, 2025 for the period of June 1st, 2025 through May 31st, 2026.
Do you believe that your recommendation will result in rates that are just and reasonable and are in the public?
Yes, I do.
Does this conclude your testimony?
Yes, it does.
Thank you. The witness is available.
No questions from Delmarva.
No questions from DPA.
Thank you. Yes.
Mr. Crumpler?
There were no questions from DPA, and there's no witnesses from DPA.
Commissioners, any questions?
I will move that we adopt proposed order number 10916 as presented.
I second.
This case immediately after the comments by Mr. Tweedy is sort of shows you what a difficult job that he has and Mr. Crumpler and everybody, we all do. Everybody wants the rates to be lower, want the expenses to be lower, but it's going to be a challenge. Luck to the parties. The next rate case with Delmarva Power and Light. I think it's going to be a time to be innovative and try to see how you can keep the costs under control. Any other comments? Mr. Gray?
Mr. Chairman, this isn't specific to this issue, but as Mr. Tweedy brought forward, one thing I would be interested to hear when the rate case comes before the commission is what factors from Delmarva's perspective are most critical to maintaining and managing affordable rates for consumers? Which are the factors, the drivers, that are going to be most impactful in order to achieve that outcome and that result? That's maybe drilling a little below the surface, but I'd be very interested to hear that so that we can get an impression whether or not sufficient attention is being paid to those factors. Thank you, Mr. Chair. No further comments.
There is no further discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
5 ayes. It passes. Thank you very much. Name is Shen. Thank you. Number 2 is in a matter of the application of Delmarva Power and Light Company for an increase in natural gas rates. Proposed order 10914, Mr. Jordan. Excuse me.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. Brian Jordan on behalf of Delmarva Power and Light Company. And I am joined today to my right by Ms. Courtney Schultz from Saul Ewing. She is Delmarva's outside counsel. She was admitted pro hoc vice by the hearing examiner in order number 10600 on November 18th, 2024. And we are here today to present to the Commission on proposed order number 10914, which would adopt the proposed settlement agreement in this natural gas-based rate case. Before getting into it, I did want to extend my gratitude to the attorneys in this room who vigorously represented their clients in this matter, and staff for preparing the proposed order, and for everyone who helped contribute to that. As I mentioned, this case was vigorously prosecuted by all sides. Everyone retained experts and consultants who submitted testimony. There was discovery where dozens and dozens of data requests were exchanged back and forth. And the settlement agreement that the Commission will be considering is not only the product of that process, but an extended settlement agreement process, negotiation process that started in September of this year and didn't wrap up for at least a month. And there were several rounds of negotiations back and forth between the parties, and all of it ended up with a proposed agreement between staff, the public advocate, Delmarva, and DUG, the Delaware Energy Users Group. We have a couple of witnesses to present today. We will have Michael Normand, who will be discussing the settlement agreement with the Commission. And we're also, although this is unusual to have a second witness at one of these, we're going to present Jeffrey Miles because back in September, when the company was presenting its natural gas infrastructure safety and reliability plan, Commissioner Gray had some questions about some of the components, some of the upgrades that were part of this case. And at the time, I deferred responding because the case was still being litigated. But I did promise that when the time came to explain those components, we would have somebody here. And that's what Jeffrey Miles will testify about and answer any questions that the Commission has about these upgrades, what they do, and the benefit that they provide to our ratepayers. There was a stipulated exhibit log that was prepared, and a copy has been handed up in that there are 46 stipulated exhibits. At this time, I would move the exhibit log and all 46 exhibits into evidence.
They're admitted without objection.
Thank you. We also handed up copies of the settlement agreement, hard copies, one for each commissioner. And with that, I'm going to turn the first round of questioning over to Ms. Schultz, and she will take it from here.
Thank you, Mr. Jordan. Good afternoon, commissioners. I would ask that the witness, Michael Norman, be sworn.
I do.
Good afternoon, Mr. Normand. Would you please tell us who you work for and what your position is?
I'm the Senior Manager of Revenue Policy for Pepco Holdings Incorporated.
And what is your role and responsibility as it relates specifically to Delmarva Power?
I'm responsible for the coordination of revenue requirement, cost allocation, and rate determinations for PHI's regulated utilities for Delaware and New Jersey. In addition, I'm responsible for coordinating and supporting regulatory strategy and revenue policy and various other compliance matters.
Did you provide testimony in support of the company's application in this case?
Yes, I did.
I'd like to show you what's been marked as Exhibit 46 on the exhibit log. This is a copy of the fully executed settlement agreement in this case. Do you have that in front of you?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Normand, were you involved in the settlement negotiations for this case?
Yes, I was.
Could you please tell us what the nature of your involvement was?
I've been involved in all of the company's internal discussions relating to the settlement, as well as all the discussions with external parties.
Okay, I'd like to talk with you today about some of the individual parts of the settlement, but before I do that, I'd like to know, do you believe the settlement as a whole is in the public interest?
Yes, the proposed settlement with all the parties joining was the result of extensive negotiations that balances all the parties' positions. In addition, the settlement reflects a compromise on a variety of topics that were negotiated in good faith over the course of several months. It should be viewed as a whole. Such removal or modification of one term could dismantle the settlement as each party ascribed value to each component of the settlement. For these reasons, we do believe overall that the settlement is in the public interest, in the interest of our customers, to prove the settlement agreement as proposed by the parties.
Thank you, Mr. Normand. Let's turn, if you would, to Section 2A of the settlement agreement. Could you please explain why you're supporting the overall revenue requirement of $29.5 million, which includes the roll-in of DSIC costs of $8 million, effective January 1st, 2026, as set forth in paragraph 16A, despite the fact that it is lower than the revenue requirement, which the company requested in this case, as updated in its rebuttal testimony, which was $45.4 million.
A negotiated settlement strikes a balance between the interests of all the stakeholders and is viewed as a comprehensive package that weighs multiple considerations. The company understands the importance of a negotiated settlement and believes the terms that were agreed to reflect a fair, reasonable settlement that is in the best of its interest of its customers.
And in that vein, Mr. Normand, why did Delmarva Power agree to include an ROE of 9.6% in the settlement?
As with all items in the settlement, this was determined based on a weighing of multiple considerations and a give and take on many of the items contained in the settlement.
Now, if we look in the same section in paragraph 16C, that deals with the rate design and the customer charge. Is there anything you'd like to mention on this topic?
Yes, the agreed upon amount of $17, which is an increase from $15 prior to interim rates, and a decrease from $18.38 from interim rates, is a fair compromise reached by the parties to achieve this inclusive settlement that disposes of all issues in the case.
And why is it that we should believe that $17 for the customer charge is in the public interest?
The $17 customer charge is based on cost causation, so it is a cost-based customer charge rate, and also it included the concept of gradualism. Customer charge increases should be moved closer towards cost, reflecting the principle of gradualism, and that was considered in the settlement.
Thank you. Could you discuss for us, please, the bill impacts as a result of the proposed settlement?
Yes. The settlement results in an average increase for a monthly bill for a gas residential customer using an average of 36 CCF per month of $2.23, or 3.3%. Yes.
Sorry. You're using the figure of 36 CCF a month for an average. Over the years, you've always used 80.
I'm getting to that.
Sorry.
So good question. That is for a non-space heating gas customer. That is for our regular residential gas heating customer. So,
Sorry, when you say that, which that, please?
oh, sorry. The bill impact was for a residential non-space heating customer, and I'm going to get to the space heating bill impact. A residential space heating customer using an average of 79 CCF in a winter month would see a bill increase of $3.74, or also 3.3%. That's an increase from $112.82 to $116.56.
Mr. Normand, is there anything you wish to note with respect to the remaining provisions of the settlement within the rates section?
Only that the company believes the recovery of its regulatory asset balances as set forth in the settlement reflect a reasonable compromise in light of the parties' litigated positions, especially as it relates to the recovery of its COVID-19 related expenses.
Thank you. I'd like to turn now to Section 2B, which is related to leak reporting. Would you please explain why it's in the public interest that Delmarva Power should be released from the 5% grade 1 hazardous leak reduction requirement from its prior gas settlement in docket number 20150?
Sure. The parties have acknowledged Delmarva Power's progress in reducing grade 1 hazardous leaks since 2021. We believe that this commission need no longer hold Delmarva Power to the leak reduction requirement, which did what it was designed to do, reduce the grade 1 leaks, which has benefited customers.
Thank you. Let's turn, if we could, to Section 2C of the settlement agreement, which is related to capital project reporting. Could you please describe what it is that the company has agreed to provide in connection with future gas base rate case filings and its voluntary early discovery, which is contained in paragraph 25 of the settlement agreement?
The company agreed to provide, as a part of voluntary early discovery, the plant and service additions and retirements from the end of the test period in the previous base rate case to the most recent month of actuals in its next base rate case test period. This will include the projects for those plant additions and also additional supporting details.
So, Mr. Norman, that's very helpful, but could you explain now why the company agreed to provide this additional VED reporting information as part of the settlement?
The company agreed to provide additional voluntary early discovery to be collaborative with staff in the Division of Public Advocate to achieve a negotiated settlement. Sharing data earlier in the rate case process will improve transparency and support staff and DPA's review of the company's proposed rate increase, specifically on the capital projects driving plant and service growth.
Thank you. Let's turn now to Section 2D of the settlement agreement related to tariff revisions. And we're lucky this is the last section of the settlement agreement. Is there anything you want to highlight with respect to those revisions that are reflected in paragraphs 26, 27, and 28?
While the company continues to believe in the benefits that its proposed weather normalization rider would have to both the company and its customers, it agreed as part of a global settlement to withdraw its request of the weather normalization adjustment rider at this time without prejudice, should the company decide to seek or implement it at a later date. The company believed removing this issue from the case to achieve a global settlement was in the public interest. The other tariff revisions are straightforward and reflect removal of provisions related to programs that are no longer offered or modifications to provisions to provide clarity for customers.
Now, Mr. Normand, is there anything else that you would like to tell the commissioners as they consider whether to approve the proposed settlement today?
Yes, the company urges that the commission adopt the settlement, which all the parties representing diverse interests worked so very hard and in cooperation over many months in full as presented without modification. A negotiated settlement is in the public interest because it is inherent benefits to customers, including customer savings at a lower rate case expenses by avoiding the cost of protracted litigation, which ultimately is borne by customers. Settlements are also encouraged by the legislature. The settlement presented today represents a fair result for customers and the company.
Thank you, Mr. Normand. With that, Mr. Normand is available for cross if there is any.
Staff has no questions. Thank you.
No questions from the DPA.
May I? Thank you. Thanks for the presentation. I have a question, and I'm stepping a little bit into the accounting arena, so forgive me. But I see the debt to equity ratio, and I'm just curious, especially looking forward to a rate case where we're talking, return on equity. I'm curious about the trend of Delmarva's equity growth over time. Because for me, the larger the equity gets, then by percentage, the larger the return, even if the percentage is kept constant. And I think that that would be a metric that I would like to have considered in making an informed decision moving forward. So equity growth over time or equity change over time as a trend would be of interest to me. Thank you, Mr. Chair. No further questions.
Commissioner Correa?
On page 4, you have mentioned that the rates will be effective January 1, 2026 for the service provided on or after, so in January. So it will be in the February bill?
Yes.
Okay.
Or for bills running after that on an effective date. Yes.
Thank you.
No further questions from anyone for Mr. Norman? Then I would thank you very much, and we will call Mr. Miles, and I will turn it back to my colleague, Mr. Jordan.
I'd ask that Mr. Miles be sworn.
I do.
Thank you. What is your name?
Jeffrey Miles,
Mr. Miles, where did you go to school?
Rowan University in Glasper, New Jersey, and Drexel University in Philadelphia.
What did you study there?
Electrical and computer engineering at Rowan and engineering management. I have a master's of engineering management from Drexel.
Where do you work currently?
Delmarva Power and Light. My business address is 401 Eagle Run Road, Newark, Delaware, 19702.
What is your current job title?
My current job title is Senior Manager of Engineering Design for Delmarva Power.
And what responsibilities do you have as the Senior Manager for Engineering and Design?
So I oversee the engineering design functions for new business and reliability with Delmarva's electric distribution system. I'm responsible for commercial, residential, and programmatic reliability designs for the regulated electric utility, which serves approximately 532,000 customers in Delaware and the Eastern Shore of Maryland.
Mr. Miles, what was your previous job title before Senior Manager, Engineering and Design for Delmarva Power?
My previous title was a Senior Manager of Gas Engineering and Asset Performance with Delmarva Power and Light.
And what were those job responsibilities?
I was responsible for overseeing the engineering functions for pipeline renewals, new business, corrective and preventive maintenance for Delmarva's gas system. I was responsible for construction management oversight of the gas contractors, work management, and utility locating for our internal employees, along with projects related to main replacement, new gas service requests, pipeline integrity, pipeline relocation projects for the regulated gas utility, which served more than 140,000 customers in Delmarva's Newcastle County service territory.
And so, Mr. Miles, is it fair to say that that gas experience is what's informing your testimony today?
That is correct.
All right, Mr. Miles, do you have a copy of Exhibit 46? It is the fully executed settlement agreement.
I do not. Yes, I do.
Okay. Were you involved in the settlement negotiations for this case?
Yes, I was.
And what was the nature of your involvement?
I was involved in the company's internal discussions relating to settlement, as well as some external discussions with other parties.
All right. And Mr. Miles, can you talk to us about the company's liquefied natural gas facility and what benefits it brings to the customers?
Yes. Yes, I can.
All right. Where is that facility located?
It's in Wilmington, Delaware.
Now, before we discuss that facility, can you describe to the commission how the company operated the liquefied natural gas facility before it installed the new liquefaction and vaporizer?
Delmarva's LNG tank can hold 3 million gallons of liquefied natural gas, LNG. That's sufficient supply to support our customers' supply and pressure support needs on the 10 coldest days of the year, and that's at a max output for that system. The supply needs are when the gas is not available from our upstream suppliers during those peak periods. There's the other side is the pressure support. It's really related to supply, but in some situations we have areas where it's more difficult to get the gas to those customers just because of their location to our gate stations on the systems. So with the location of the LNG plant, it's in this more central to our territory and in the areas with the highest demand for gas. So it allows the pressure to go across the whole system to remain higher, which then puts a less risk to our customers of interruption. Additionally, to fill the tank, Delmarva is able to purchase that gas at during lower usage times, which allows the gas to be cheaper at those times when we're filling the tank. The older design utilized a water cooling system, which prevented the plant from liquefying natural gas during the winter. If there was a disruption during the winter time, we would either have to tap into our limited supply from the tank, purchase gas on the market, which can be very expensive during peak periods, or purchase trucked LNG, which can be very pricey compared to normal pipeline gas. It also can be very hard to secure trucked LNG during the winter because it could be committed to other facilities, or if there's an event of a widespread outage in our area, the bidding for those would be competing with other gas utilities, and it will really drive the price up if that is even available at that time. Additionally, it really creates a dilemma for our team that we have to try, at the time, we would have to try and decide, do we want to draw from the tank? That is really limited because of the liquefaction processes, or purchase expensive pipeline gas. So consider the tank, we always consider it as really our last line of defense in the supply stack. You have all the pipeline suppliers, and you kind of add that up to what we need for that day, and then that's really our last line of defense of where we want to be. And if the gas day does come in colder than predicted, we can then ramp up the LNG plant to make up that difference of what's really required to support our customers. We don't have that level of flexibility when it comes to our pipelines. I always like to say it is our insurance policy, the LNG facility. It's strategically located, as I mentioned, in Wilmington, really close to Wilmington, and it can feed down to Newark, which are more highly densely populated, which provides us a very high demand there, and we can support our customers in those areas. And whereas if you think about our gate stations, when I talk about them, they're on the outskirts, they're on the city gate station, meaning on the state line or the edges of our territory. Additionally, on the coldest days, when Delmarva purchases natural gas, we evaluate how much gas we will need for that day. Our supply team purchases gas in the market, and they evaluate if LNG be required to support for the supply or the pressure support. Previously, with the inability to liquefy in the winter, the cost of truck LNG being very high, Delmarva would be more reserved when we would try and call on the plant to vaporize to support our customers. And additionally, the last line of defense for us is our curtailment policy within the tariff.
So Mr. Miles, to discuss that a little bit further, if I understand what you said correctly, Delmarva would purchase gas in the summertime, correct?
Correct.
And then that's what it would hold on to when it got cold, right?
That's correct.
Because Delmarva could not refill the tank in the wintertime.
That's correct.
With natural gas. If there was a disruption, the company would either have to tap into the tank or purchase it if it were available.
Correct.
If the company tapped into the tank 10 times for 10 days worth of supply, what would be left in the tank?
Nothing.
And that could be December, January, February with nothing in the tank, correct?
That's correct. That's why we'd be more reserved than when we would want to call upon that. Correct.
The alternative would be to purchase it if it's available on the market.
Correct. And typically it is not available on the market on the coldest days. It's once we're in the day, the gas day.
And you mentioned a curtailment policy. Curtailment means cutting off supply to.
Correct. That is cutting off customers in a detailed order based on the size of that customer.
And that would obviously be a last ditch resort if there were no gas in the tank for pressure support or supply and we could not find any on the market.
That's correct.
So, Mr. Miles, what does the liquefaction do?
So liquefaction process, we call it the liquefier, takes the gas from the pipeline and it liquefies the gas to store into the LNG tank. So it utilizes a closed loop nitrogen system, which cools it down to negative 260 degrees Fahrenheit. One of the benefits is the ability to purchase that gas, as Brian mentioned, during the winter months, or I'm sorry, during the summer months when the price is typically lowest, and we can then store it for use during the peak periods. The advantage is the natural gas to LNG ratio is a 600-to-1 ratio. So I can store a lot of gas in a very small footprint compared to other sources on the pipeline or like a compressed natural gas. I like to try and use this to be illustrative of the process. It is just a simple phase change. So I like to incorporate as you're basically taking, if you took water, it's taking steam and converting it back to water. It's that same idea. It's much more complex in that way because you're trying to take it down to negative 260 degrees Fahrenheit, but that it is very much a basic physics of taking steam to liquid in that same concept.
And you could not have done that before the company upgraded the liquefier? Is that right?
To not at that rate or during the winter time, correct.
Right, okay. When was the liquefier put into service?
The liquefier is placed in service in March of 2025.
All right, so will that be ready for winter 2025, 2026?
That is correct. It actually filled up our tank during this last cycle to be ready for this coming the winter that we're in now.
All right. The company also upgraded with a vaporizer. What does the vaporizer do?
The vaporizer draws down from the LNG through a set of heat exchangers. It warms the gas up from the negative 260 degrees Fahrenheit that's stored in the tank to right around 60 degrees Fahrenheit to be sent out into our gas system. To go back to illustrative piece there is it's the same as taking water and you boil it and you convert it back to steam. In that same illustrative purpose is there.
And when did the vaporizer go operational?
The vaporizer went into service in November 2024.
So for this coming winter, both the liquefier and the vaporizer will be working together?
That is correct. And we did use it last winter very much as support on multiple occasions to support our customers. And I do want to note too, we actually just used it this last weekend because we had a pipeline event on our system upstream supplier that made us have to run the plant, and we were able to still support our customers with no impact to the customer.
When you mention a pipeline event, that's a disruption to the supply, is that?
That is correct.
And do you have advance notice when there's going to be a disruption?
No, we were given a call and told that we're being restricted and that we may have to reduce the amount of gas we're taking into our system at that time. If we don't reduce our flows, they can forcibly restrict us.
And that's where tapping into the tank or purchasing the gas on the market would come into place, right?
That's correct.
Okay. What benefit does having these components installed provide to Delmarva's gas customers?
So there's many benefits. I have a list of ones, but not limited to, is the reduction of at-risk customers, as I detailed, improve resiliency, plant safety, there's environmental impacts, and plant performance. With the increase of the capacity of vaporization, it eliminates Delmarva's need to purchase expensive long-term upstream supply contracts and improves the use of the company's already existing assets. In addition, customers will have improved resiliency due to less risks of pipeline interruptions on the system, on system or upstream. Due to the company's previous supply portfolio, there were restrictions on transportation customers returning to firm service. As a result of the LNG project, additional capacity will allow commercial and industrial customers more choices for natural gas suppliers. Furthermore, the new vaporizer and liquefaction can operate during winter months, thereby helping the company better mitigate the consequences of a disruption on the customer's behalf. And the company estimates a reduction of the gas cost rate, the GCR, by $1.85 million per year by limiting supply contracts on a commodity recovery side of the bill. In other words, this project is expected to generate a net present value savings of approximately $55 million in GCR costs over a 30-year period. These savings will be passed on to customers via GCR costs. In addition, the LNG upgrade shields our customers from supply pricing volatility and eliminates the need for LNG trucking expenditures for operations. It should also reduce the need for spot prices, especially during peak winter periods, which was a practice that the Commission staff and DPA both challenged as costly in one of the company's previous gas cost rates, docket 21-0672. I do want to note also that the savings calculation that I provided is just for the demand charges from the upstream suppliers and does not reflect savings from the vaporizing of the LNG when the market price of the gas spikes. So there is additional savings within that one of purchasing on the market versus running our LNG and that cost.
Mr. Miles, in your opinion, is the vaporizer used and useful?
Yes.
And is the in your opinion, is the liquefaction used and useful?
Yes.
I have no further questions for Mr. Miles. He's available for cross-examination.
Staff have no questions. Thank you.
No questions from the DPA.
Mr. Gray?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just one question. Thank you, Mr. Miles, for that explanation. And thank you for bringing the subject back to the table. So I understand the unit operations, and I also understand from the settlement agreement and the discussions that this investment also was made to reduce grade 1 hazardous leaks. I didn't hear anything about leaks, and how does leaks come into the equation in terms of this improvement to the facility?
Can you repeat the question? Because the hazardous leaks is on our cast, mainly on our pipeline side of the.
Okay, so my impression, perhaps from a different reference than the settlement agreement, was that investment was made for the vaporizer and the liquefier to assist the reduction in hazardous leaks affiliated with your gas operations. And if that's the case, and in the settlement agreement, is it a different hazardous leaks that are referred to in the settlement agreement?
I can take a shot at that, Commissioner, and of course, Mr. Miles can back me up here. The hazardous leaks that are referred to in the settlement provision refers to those that were coming out of the gas cast iron pipeline that we had, not the vaporizer and liquefier. As those cast iron pipes age and deteriorate, it increases the leaks, and so we have been engaged in replacing those cast irons mains with plastic pipes, and by doing so, we have reduced the hazardous leaks that come from that system, not necessarily the LNG facility.
Okay, so it's my misinterpretation. I apologize for that. So you did say that there should be some efficiencies and reductions in cost and rates as a consequence of the efficiencies that you're gaining, and I'm going to make the assumption that those would be taken into account in terms of future rate cases, and we'll see that attributed to the benefit of the ratepayer. No further questions, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much.
No further questions from Delmarva. Thank you. I'm sorry, no further witnesses, excuse me, from Delmarva.
Any further, I assume, from the parties?
We have a witness, and I know DPA also has a witness. She's been waiting all day for it. All year, really. Kate Workman, on behalf of staff, I'd like to call our first and only witness, Miss Isla Causey, and ask that she be sworn in. Please state your name and business address for the record.
Name is Isla Causey. My business address is 861 Silver Lake Boulevard, Cannon Building, Suite 100, Dover, Delaware, 19904.
By whom are you employed?
Delaware Public Service Commission.
What is your position with the commission?
A public utilities analyst.
And in connection with your employment, have you performed certain review and investigation into this docket?
Yes.
And as part of your duties and responsibilities, on July 25th, 2025, did you file testimony on behalf of the commission's staff in this docket?
Yes.
And has your testimony been marked as an exhibit and entered into the record of this proceeding?
Yes.
Did staff retain any experts for this docket?
Yes, Mr. Larry Blank and Miss Maureen Reno of Tahoe Economics and Mr. Ryan Paff of Polk and Vine was retained on behalf of staff to assist in the review of the application.
And did anyone else submit testimony on behalf of staff in connection with this docket?
Yes, Miss Reno of Tahoe Economics, Mr. Paff of Polk and Vine, and Mr. Brian Geller of Commission staff submitted testimony.
And have each of those testimonies been marked as an exhibit and entered into the record of this proceeding?
Yes.
Were you involved in the discussions on behalf of the commission staff that led to the settlement agreement in this case?
Yes, I was.
And do you agree with the description of the terms of the proposed settlement agreement?
Yes, I do.
Ms. Causey, do you believe that the proposed settlement results in just and reasonable rates and is in the public interest?
Yes.
Could you please explain your reasons for this belief?
The settlement reflects several months of review, discovery, and negotiations among the parties. Although the parties began with differing positions, we ultimately concluded that the terms of the settlement represent a balanced outcome that meets the statutory standard of just and reasonable rates. The settlement agreement is the product of extensive good faith negotiations between the parties and represents a fair result for both the company and its customers. Staff believes that the agreement provides a reasonable and efficient resolution of the issues in this docket and resolves several regulatory items, including remaining EDIT balances, COVID-19 regulatory asset, and agreed upon depreciation rates. The agreement also includes several tariff revisions, including the withdrawal of the proposed weather normalization adjustment rider without prejudice. The settlement agreement also avoids expensive further litigation. Staff respectfully recommends that the commission approve the settlement agreement as filed.
Thank you, Ms. Causey. Do you have anything else to add?
No.
Ms. Causey is now available for any cross-examination.
No questions.
No questions from the DPA either.
Commissioners, do you have any questions?
That's it for staff. Thank you.
At this time, DPA would like to call its consultant, Glenn Watkins. Mr. Watkins is testifying virtually. And I'd ask that he be sworn in.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, Glenn.
Thank you.
One second there.
Mr. Watt, do you swear that the testimony you're about to give should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Mr. Watkins, can you please state your name and business address for the record?
Yes, my name is Glenn A. Watkins. My business address is 6377 Matawan Trail. That's Mattawawan Trail, Mechanicsville, Virginia, 23116.
And by whom are you employed, sir?
Technical Associates Incorporated.
And what's your position with Technical Associates?
I'm president and senior economist.
And Mr. Watkins, what's your role in this proceeding before the commission?
I was engaged by the DPA to evaluate the company's proposed overall revenue requirement, as well as its class cost of service and residential rate design proposals.
And sir, did you submit pre-filed direct testimony in this proceeding?
I did on July 25th, as I recall.
And then did you subsequently file errata testimony?
Yes, I made a couple of minor changes and filed errata testimony on October 9th.
Okay. And in this matter, did the Division of Public Advocate reach a settlement with DPO in this case?
Yes, we did.
Mr. Watkins, did you participate in settlement negotiations relating to the proposed settlement agreement that's before the commission today?
Extensively, yes.
Okay. And could you briefly describe the terms of the settlement as they pertain to the overall revenue requirement, as well as the allocation of increases across classes and residential rate design?
Sure. And although Mr. Norman outlined everything pretty well, the agreed upon revenue requirement increase is $29.5 million. And with a few exceptions that are specifically enumerated in the proposed settlement agreement, this increase is a black box settlement agreement. I would like to note, though, in this regard, the $29.5 million increase reflects the roll-in of approximately $6.25 million of DSIC costs that customers are currently paying. Therefore, the net increase to customers' base rates is about $23.25 million. Of specific relevance to the company's revenue requirement, the settlement provides for a 9.60% return on equity and a capital structure of 49.49% long-term debt and 50.51% common equity. Now, in large part, the settlement increase of $29.5 million is a result of the capital spending relating to plant and service that the company has made since the last rate case. Mr. Miles just discussed the fact that the LNG plant, a renovation and rehabilitation of the LNG plant was put in place in service, subsequent to the last rate case. And the gross plant associated with that capital spending alone is right at $93 million. So that was a significant aspect of the rate increase that we agreed upon. Furthermore, with respect to additions to plant and service, and that is discussed by Mr. Norman, Delmarva has committed to provide detailed information in its future gas base rate filings relating to the actual spending subsequent to the most recent rate case, which will provide a significant amount of clarity and information to the staff, DPA, and other interveners in evaluating the need for and level of capital spending going forward, from DPL gas. With respect to how the individual classes are going to be impacted by the $29.5 million increase, which I refer to as revenue allocations. These percentages are provided in paragraph 22 of the settlement agreement. There was not much controversy on the company's proposed class revenue increases, in that the company, in addition to considering both cost of service, it also considered gradualism, so that, in my opinion and in my testimony, I agreed with the company's proposed revenue allocations, as did the staff and the industrials in the settlement agreement. And also, as already discussed by Mr. Norman, the residential fixed charge will be increased by $2 from the current $15 to $17, which, as Mr. Norman indicated, was a compromise largely between the DPA and the company. So with that being said, that's an overview of the overall post-settlement agreement.
Gotcha. Mr. Watkins, in your opinion, is this settlement in the public interest? And if so, why?
Yes, I believe it is. Obviously, the DPA would have preferred a somewhat lower revenue requirement. But it should be remembered that the settlement revenue increase is about 60% of what was requested by the company in its 12+0 updated filing. And to be candid, I'm not sure if I should be patted on the back or have stones thrown at me, but in my errata testimony, my recommendation was for a $26.1 million increase. So by settling at a 29.5, in terms of ratepayer interest, I think we did pretty darn good. So with that being said, I believe that the public will be served very well with this settlement agreement. It'll provide the company for an opportunity to recover its reasonable cost of service and the ability to attract and maintain capital, but at the same time, provide significant safeguards to ratepayers.
Mr. Watkins, without getting into the details of the confidential settlement negotiations, if you could, please explain why the DPA agreed to the overall revenue increase that's contained in the settlement agreement, which is somewhat larger than your recommended increase of $25.4 million reflected in your pre-filed direct testimony.
Okay, with one clarification, that the 25 was my, original as filed. I made a couple of math mistakes and updated that to the 26 that I just referred to. But, as with basically all rate cases, not only in Delaware, but around the country, when we negotiate and work on a settlement, at least DPA, we evaluate our litigation position. We know that historically, we've not won every one of our adjustments, and neither has the company. And in doing so, we evaluated our litigation risk. It's really that simple, quite frankly.
Okay. Mr. Watkins, is it your understanding that commission staff also supports the settlement under consideration today?
That is correct. That is correct, yes.
And Mr. Watkins, do you have any final remarks regarding the proposed settlement agreement?
Well, yes. I mean, from the DPA's perspective, we didn't receive everything we wanted to do. We would have liked to see, but neither did Delmarva or the staff for that matter. It's an all-encompassing compromise. So nobody got exactly what they wanted, but on the other hand, none of the parties lost whatever they were most importantly concerned about.
Thank you, Mr. Watkins. Mr. Watkins is available for any cross-examination that the parties might have.
Hello, Mr. Watkins. This is Ms. Schultz. Thanks so much for your testimony. I have no questions for you today.
Oh, that's a disappointment.
I thought you'd be disappointed. I fought with Mr. Jordan about who'd get to tell you that.
'Tis the season.
Staff has no questions. Thank you.
Sure, is there any question? Doesn't look like it.
Nothing further from DP.
Is there any discussion or anybody have a motion?
I move that we adopt the order number 10914.
I second.
Discussion on the motion. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 It was 5 ayes. It's approved. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, witnesses.
Thank you, Commissioners. And I did neglect to thank Mr. Geddes, who was not, I said all the attorneys in the room, and I meant to include Mr. Geddes in my gratitude as well.
Chairman Winslow, thanks. We did have a couple service anniversary recognitions, if we could do that.
Come forward.
Both.
Do them one at a time. We can't do them.
See a big smile on that.
Just seems like the other day, and it's 5 years, Samantha. I can't believe it. The state of Delaware has got this certificate for you. And on behalf of the commission, we very much appreciate all of your hard work. This is recognition for the look. Ms. Hajak has twice the number of years. That's why she's second. We did go from small. So Once again, on behalf of the commission, thank you so much. Oh. Mr. Hardigan?
Yeah, thanks, Chairman Winslow. Thank you to the commission for all your hard work this year. As I say, every year, take the rest of the year off. And we'll see you on January 7th.
Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you all. Stay 5 home.
Happy holidays.